Hey guys, what is up? It's Andy here. Welcome to my hotel room in Glasgow for another episode of Letterbox Workshop. Something a bit different today. I'm going to be talking about a few bikes that have really inspired me to start building. I only got my license less than a year ago. This is my first bike I've ever touched, first bike I've ever owned. But there are a few bikes that were really instrumental in getting me motivated towards doing this build, and today I'm going to show you these. Stay tuned. So guys, first bike I want to talk about today that has really inspired me is this CX500. It was built by Pilot out in Canada. It's a CX500, it's called Charlie X-Ray, and it's just really beautiful. I like the simplicity of it, I like the mix of colours on it. You've got the kind of aquamarine blue coloured tank, which goes really nicely with the saddle. These lovely retro Honda logos on the tank. Some really nice grips. The upside down forks are probably a bit beyond my budget for my own CB750 build, but I really like the look of these. I think what really does it for me with this bike is just the really nice use of colours. It's just so simple. There's no one element that really stands out or is too in your face. It's just a beautiful, beautiful, simple build that I really, really rate. So there's definitely some ideas here I'm going to be using in my own build. So next up we've got a pair of CB750s from Cafe Racer Dreams out of Spain. These are beautiful bikes. Again, there's a couple of elements that are the same with the CX500, just the utter simplicity of these bikes. There's nothing too showy, just really, really nice and simple. The reason I put these two bikes in was just the fact that they were the original CB750s that I saw that really made me fall in love with this particular model. That frame, that tank, it's all the same as is on my build, and they were really the first time I saw those early 1980s CB750s really being done up and really, really looking good. I was never overly keen on the slight down sweep on the back of the tank, but after I saw those Cafe Racer Dreams I realised that bike had real potential. Also has a big benefit that the early double overhead cams in the UK at least are significantly cheaper than the earlier single overhead cams. I'm talking like half the price, a third of the price of the earlier single overhead cam bikes. When you're looking for a first build, I didn't want to ruin something really historic, really beautiful and special. I wanted to take a bike that was a bit unloved. My bike had been used as a commuter bike on the Isle of Wight, so it'd been exposed to a lot of sea air. There was a lot of surface rust on the bike, so I didn't feel too bad chopping my bike up and changing details on it and feeling like I was really messing up a properly historic bike. So finally, this is another CB750 by Seaweed and Gravel. It's a really nice simple bike. Obviously they've gone down the route of a monoshock to make it look a bit more modern. I'm not overly keen on this. I think it works on their bike. I think it's a lot of work, and maybe for me the return for that time and spend isn't worth it on my bike, but it looks beautiful on theirs. Again, it's got this CB750, the early 1980s tank with the down sweep, and they just carry it off really nicely. I think what's critical with this particular bike, again, is just the attention to detail. So you can see they've gone with the original forks. So unlike the CX500 where they put quite an expensive pair of upside down forks on, this bike and the Cafe Racer Dreams bikes, they've kept the forks stock, which is going to save a lot of time, a lot of money, and I think in both these cases they look really good and help the bike actually look retro and vintage. I think in all three of these builds, there's three key factors that I really like that I'm trying to integrate into my own CB750 build. Number one, the simplicity of the designs. They're not over the top. Some of them have upside down forks, but generally the design has been trying to keep the build as minimal as possible, trying keeping the focus on the frame and the engine. I think number two is the use of colours in it, particularly the CX500. Just beautifully simple colours that just hit really nicely with the colour of the grips, the colour of any pedals, the colour of the saddle. Just a really simple palette, nothing too in your face, something that looks like it might have been of the era that these bikes hark back to. So I'm talking late 60s, that era of simple, clean design. And really the third point goes into that very nicely. The frames themselves, where they have been modified, have been just cut back and had a really nice simple triangle put in, really nice lines through the bottom of the tank into the saddle. Just to simplify everything as much as possible, make sure that that engine is the centre of the focus, the lines from the tank into the saddle, so that your eyes are immediately drawn to the key parts of these brilliant, beautiful classic bikes. If you've seen any builds that you think should have featured in this video, please do chuck up a link below. I'm always looking for inspiration. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to see more about how this CB750 build is going, please do hit the subscribe button below. And if you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. There will be a video coming in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to show you a computer-aided design I've done of how I want my bike to end up. I know there's already some guides on how to do those. Most of them use very expensive software. My guide, all free software. So if you're interested in making a mock-up for your own cafe racer build, hit that subscribe button. That video will be coming very soon indeed. Cheers.